So I used a number of gramophone horns from the MAAS collection. The gramophone horn represents the first time that we were able to technologically manipulate and amplify the voice. The sound is so microscopic almost, you need to be right next to that object. But suddenly you attach the horn and the kind of power of that sound is transformed. So Utterance is basically built around almost like a score, I guess, that I gave to different people all across the world as a way of approaching the idea of how it is that they convey certain words through their voices, how it is they articulate a certain word, and what that articulation means for the way that we understand the word. That you apply yourself to it, that its meaning becomes personalized to you. It's not this kind of abstract concept that might be weighing down on you. It's something that you can possess in a way, and in that moment as you speak it, there's a certain sense of ownership or recognition of what that means in your life. But the gramophone horn specifically was about amplifying the voice. I became very interested in it. These objects, one, they're aesthetically quite curious to look at, but also the physical capacity of them to transform what can be a very small utterance into something much larger and much louder. So with that piece, I was very interested in taking people's voices and using the gramophone for what it was meant to do, to transform those voices, to give them a different kind of presence and dimension. So the work very much speaks to this idea of a kind of collective unity where there's many voices speaking together, and the amplification of message that brings, and then the kind of physical amplification of the sound itself, the utterance of the voice, and how it can be manipulated and transformed to carry a different kind of weight. So when people encounter it in the work, not just the words themselves, but the way in which the words are articulated and transferred to you as a listener become augmented. And what was really beautiful about the work was, as I would listen back to people's voices editing the recordings, you could sense people grappling with, recognizing, owning that experience of those words, what it means in their life. When they say anxiety, they choose that word because it has a resonation in their life. When they talk about any number of other words that we used, queer or capital or post-colonialism, these are kind of very powerful words, and sometimes until we say them, until we articulate them ourselves, we don't really necessarily understand how they resonate for us.